Welcome to Digimon.
Hello and welcome to Digimon, and today we have our second time with the Gallantmon deck profile. This build is not quite like the last one. If you get a chance, have a look at our previous deck profile by my friend Sam, who's running a bit more of a traditional Gallantmon. This one's not so traditional. It's not Chaos Gallantmon, but we do run some more of the mill strategies in this deck. And I just want to show you what kind of version we've been running with for a little while. And every now and then you probably hear me reference the BT17 cards coming up soon. And a lot of my praise on the Digimon Ace that we should be getting around about that time as well, because I really want that. For the time being, this is the deck I'm running. If you like the content you see here, please give us a like and subscribe, and head on over to the channel to see some of our other videos ahead there, and give us a look in for the Jank Tank Fest as well. If you're not sure what that is, stay tuned to the end, we'll explain that one there. For the time being though, let's just dig straight into the deck profile. Now, we don't run the normal drawing Digimon in this deck, so we really don't want to draw all that much. Instead, we are running the BT12 Digimon. I said we don't want to draw, but we do want to extend our DP deletion range, which a lot of the Gallantmon deck does, and this inheritable allows us to add 1,000 to our DP based deletions, just flat out. That's on all your Digimon, not just this stack, and that's why we play this one. We want to make the most out of the DP deletions that we have got in this deck. Now there's more swarming strategies out there, so even the inheritable of our first Guilmon is going to come in handy as well, which is the EX2 Guilmon. This is your standard searcher, allows you to add one of the Gallantmon line pieces, and a Takato from among them. But the inheritable is also when attacking to delete a 3k or lower if you're of the Gallantmon line. As well, we run 2 copies of the BT12 Guilmon. I really don't like playing this one, as in I don't like the on-play effect. Allows you to reveal your top 4 cards, add all Takatos among them. It whiffs far too much, but the inheritable to gain 2,000 if you're of the Gallantmon line is really strong, and that's why we play this one just at 2 copies. Of another 2, we have the ST7 Guilmon. We have got quite a few 2-ofs in this deck. Reason being, I said the main Guilmon is just this searcher, but we do like the inheritables from this. We do like the your turn effect to warp into a Gallantmon, but it's more of a comeback card. If you run 1 of it, you'll be seeing it too late. You run 3 or 4 of it, it's far too early, you don't need it. And as we said, the inheritable does allow you to draw, which we don't want to do too much, but every now and then it's fine. It's when opponent's Digimon's deleted, draw 1. You just don't want to draw all the time with every swing off every egg, but if you go into this Guilmon, sometimes that draw can help you out. And my favourite of the Guilmon cards we run is the Rush Guilmon from EX4. If you and your opponent have 20 or more cards together, then this gains Rush. It just gives itself the keyword Rush. So when you Digivolve, you've still got Rush, which is great. So if you combine this with the BT12 Takato to basically Biomerge Warp up into Gallantmon, so long as you've got the other Takato out from EX2, you then Blitz, you've got Rush, you swing, get some memory back. It's really great. Now, the other level 3 we run is a little bit more controversial, and admittedly, we're not running it in future decks coming in BT17, because there is a new Guilmon in there that we're going to run instead. For the time being, we are running 2 copies of Guilmon X Antibody. The only real reason we use this one is the when Digimon make effect to delete one of your opponent's Digimon 3k or less just can come in handy. Just being able to pick off a small Digimon, whether that's a Numamon, maybe it's a couple of Sukamon cards, depending on your locals. But even people who picked up Double Typhoon and they've left a Lotmon out for the Alliance keyword, or anything like that, it's just instead of having to attack into it, you can just wipe it out early, and you get yourself a draw. It's cool. You're just moving up the pieces, but it does clash with a lot of your cards, because a lot of your cards add a Guilmon and a card with Groundmon in name or Gallantmon in name. There's not a lot of ads for Guilmon in names, if at all. I'm pretty sure there aren't any, so this can be dead in the water. But the inheritable to add another 1,000 to your maximum DP deletion range is great too. But as I said, in BT17, we are no longer running this Guilmon. It's just for the time being, because we do have the slots. I don't like the EX3 Guilmon, which is a non-deletion, and the others that you've seen, I'm fine with those numbers, so I'm just running this one in the time being. Moving on to our level 4s, probably my favourite level 4 in the deck is the Black Growlmon from EX4. Again, because it's a Black Growlmon, it does clash with the aforementioned Kato, which allows you to put a Growlmon, War Growlmon beneath a Guilmon to turn it into a Gallantmon. So having 4 copies of this, you will see it in the trash. very soon, but you won't be able to place this one with that Takato. But it is essentially a searcher for your deck. It allows you to recover pieces as well. It's when digivolving, you both trash the top 2 cards of your decks, and you get to add a Gallantmon or a Gallantmon name from your trash to your hand. So of the 2 cards, you're more likely going to hit any of the Gallantmon line, add any one of the pieces to your hand, and at the same time, you're trashing your opponent, you're milling them out. So even if you're not able to wipe out their board early, you're still getting rid of pieces that they could need, especially more likely with the milling you do. You can mill out their level 6s, you can get rid of their 5s. If you start wiping out some of the 4s, you're going to make it difficult for them to digivolve into their 5s, etc, etc. And even an easy combo of going into Black Growlmon, into War Growlmon to both mill 5 cards, that's still a lot of cards from your deck just gone. And that's why I really like this one. I am tempted just to drop it down to 3 copies, which I have seen a lot of success in Japan of around 3 copies, because it does have the inheritable on deletion of return a Gallantmon or Growlmon or Gallantmon a name from trash to hand. And sometimes you do just go like, oh cool, so this digivolved stack dies, just going to put the Black Growlmon back in the hand so that I can go into my Gallantmons into a 4, get the search, fill up the trash, gain that on deletion effect again. But I'm sticking with the 4 copies right now because I'm a little unsure about the next one I'm going to show you, which is the EX3 Growlmon. This is the one with the when digivolving, delete an opponent's Digimon with 3k or less. Now, originally you actually wanted to miss with your deletion effects in the Gallantmon line because you gained another effect if you missed. Whether that's some Gallantmons that delete something, if you don't, you trash security. This one is delete something, but if you don't, you trash the top 2 cards of both players' decks. And I ran this as a 5th copy of Black Growlmon just to digivolve and mill, essentially. But now you're actually quite happy giving yourself that opportunity to delete some of these smaller Digimon on the board. It's a 3k or less. The Gigimon says you can delete a 4k or less. The Gigimon X under it as well makes it a 5k or less. It's just an easy deletion for you. The inheritable doesn't come up nearly as much. It can be live, which is if you delete one of your Digimon when you attack, you gain security attack +1. I'm very tempted to give this a swap over to a 3 and a 2. Because if as I said, the on deletion effect with the Black Growlmon, as soon as you get 1, you can just keep it going. I just really like the Black Growlmon. It's just really cool. This is the ratio I'm running at the moment, and it's been pretty successful. I've really enjoyed this one, and this one I'm coming round to as well. The other level 4s we run are pretty obviously the BT12 Growlmon. This has one of those one-off effects of a when digivolving you play a Tamer, and this one plays your Takato, but only if you don't have Takato. And that's why it's kind of like a one-off, because as soon as you've got Takato out, that effect whiffs. Like, you're not gaining anything with it. Fortunately, though, the inheritable of your Growlmon and Gallantmon name, you gain 2k. And that's why we're still happy to run it at 3. If you run it any less, you're not going to get that when digivolving effect at all. But if you run it at 4, then you've just got more pieces that are just pretty much dead in the water. Which is why instead I'm also running just 2 copies of ST17 Gallantmon, the inheritable of when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you just gain a memory. And sometimes that gain 1 memory can be what you need to save yourself from entirely passing turn off a Gallantmon pass turn blitz. When attacking, delete something, end of attack, gain back 2 memory. So yeah, you just gain a bunch of memory back and maybe just save yourself from passing that turn. And moving on to our level 5s, we are running quite obviously War Growlmon EX3. This, I think, is the best level 5 of the bunch. Just having the effect of when digivolving, you both trash the top 3 cards of your deck, but then you get to play a Gallantmon or Takato from your hand or trash if you've got 5 or more, which you will. You will have 5 or more. But being able to get a Takato out for free, and just being able to get those Tamers out for free, because so many times you've got decks go like, oh yeah, my deck pops off when I got my Tamers ready. This was one of them, but at least now you can get them out for free, whether it's from your hand and you've drawn it, or you've trashed it, which is ideal, and get it out for free. The other one is you can then just last minute play a Gallantmon from it. And as you've seen, a couple of the Gallantmons have the effect to warp Digivolve to Gallantmon if you're the underdog on the board, or you can just give it rush if you've both got 20 in your total trashes. The other one is we're only running 3 of this. It is the BT12 War Growlmon. Again, this was an effect that you wanted to miss, it having the effect of when Digivolve and delete a 4k or lower. But if you did not delete something, then you can Digivolve into a Gallantmon in name for 1 less. So if you were going to Digivolve into this, it would pass turn. You then get to Digivolve into a Gallantmon, give your opponent more memory, but at least you've gone into a Gallantmon to swing, when Digivolving effect, when attacking effect, inheritables to blitz, delete something, gain memory, end of attack, gain something, was really helpful there. Really, really helpful. It's not one I'm particularly fond of, which is why I do prefer the EX3 over it, but BT12 does still have its place. Moving on to our level 6s, pretty obviously, we're running 2 BT13. I used to run 3 of this, but I found it a bit too cloggy early game. It is the Royal Knight Gallantmon from BT13 that can come out for much less. It costs you 2 less for every 5 in both players' trashes, and it has Rush. So it can come out for cheap, which is primarily why I run this mill-based deck. And then if you do happen to Digivolve into it, you can delete a 6k or lower. If that whiffs, then you delete a 13k or more. I don't like that middle ground range that it does miss, but this is still a very powerful card. Besides that, we run the BT12 Gallantmon for the raid effect, so you can guarantee you can run over something with the DP boost as well. That's be really helpful. Then when you Digivolve, you delete 6k or lower. When you attack, you delete 6k or lower. Now, if that second one happens to miss, you trash the security, and that's why I really like this one. I did run it at 3, but at the moment I'm trialing running one copy of Gallantmon X antibody. Reason being is it's an extender. As soon as I see that one Gallantmon in the trash, I can quite easily recover it, and then just make sure all the other piece, whichever you need. Because it does have the when Digimon effect to delete an opponent's Digimon, but if you don't do that, then you unsuspend. So if you have to have swung with your Gallantmon, gain a bunch of memory back, and now it's still your turn, Digivolve into this for 1, don't delete anything, you unsuspend, you get another swing in. But even if you do delete something, if there's Gallantmon underneath it, you've got the your turn effect of trashing their security if you deleted something, and this has got Gallantmon beneath. Now there is one other level 6 I've run. It's only a one-of. I really should run 2, but I just couldn't find the room for it. And that is one copy of the Seriousmon Ace, and that is the red Ace Digimon we've got at the moment. It's good because it means we finally got a response to the opponent's turn. When you Digivolve into this, you can pop an 8k or lower, increase that range by 1,000 for every color underneath you. So the red and purples that you can have under it, you can delete a 10k or lower. The Gigimon, increase that again. Gigimon X, increase that again. And then you gain a memory once per turn when a Digimon is deleted. As I said, I'll probably drop one of the options I'll show in a moment, just so I can make room for the second of these. But considering I had the room, I just threw one copy of this in. And finally, the level 7s speaks for itself, Gallantmon Crimson Mode. Until we get to BT17, this is still the best level 7 for this deck. When Digivolving, delete your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. Then when you attack, you just trash the security. And then for every 10 of your opponent's trash, you increase that range. You just trash 1 more. So this is why we want to mill both of our decks down, get rid of all their sources, all their any of those cards they're looking for. You trash them, get rid of them, really slow down their plays, and then you've managed to put so many cards in their trash, you can just swing, wipe out the security in this game. And I still love this one. I really do love this card. It's a shame I didn't get the alt art, but maybe they'll drop in price when we get the Ace. Moving on to the options. We are running 4 copies of the offense training, but as stated, I might drop this down to 3 copies to make room for that other Seriousmon. They're training cards. You just get controlled search. And then finally is the Crimson Blaze. It costs 1 less for every one of your opponent's Digimon, but then you get to delete everything 6k or lower, and your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of the next turn, which is a really good out to a lot of decks in the meta at the moment, and you get to increase that DP base range as well with your Gigimon and Gilmon X's. Finally, the Tamers in this deck need no introduction, but here we go. It is the 4 copies of Takato EX2, including the nice spicy old top. This one, every time your opponent's Digimon is deleted in your turn, you gain 1 memory by tapping this. All of your your Growlmon and Gallantmon named Digimon gain the when Digivolve gets effective Blitz. So if you do happen to Digivolve and its memory is past your opponent, you get the when Digivolving to Blitz. You don't gain Blitz, you just have the keyword when Digivolving Blitz. So you just attack. But then should you delete something, you just gain that memory back and make sure your turn doesn't pass. I'm only running the 1 of the BT12 Takato. I used to run 2, but I just found the Blitz, the biomerging warping effect wasn't nearly as good. And when I got that second one out, I don't need it. So I just trimmed it down to 1 because I was just seeing it too frequently. But it also allowed me to get some room for my preferred Tamer of the deck, which you probably might not have been expecting, but I think it's one of the most powerful cards in the game, even still as it's kind of declined in plays, but it is from EX1 Analog Youth. This being only a 2-cost searcher to reveal the top 3 of your deck and add any Digimon and trash the rest, fills up my trash and gets me a card I need. And then if my level 5 or higher, which I likely will be a War Groundmon and pass, is deleted, then I can suspend this to gain 1 back and hatch my egg. And I want to bump this up to 3. I might even opt to just dropping one of the offense trainings for 1/3 of the Analog Youth. But as we said, we don't want to trash too much, and if you trash one of these, I can't do anything with it because it is outside of the theme. So the 2 copy seems to work for now. So that is my version of the Gallantmon deck. What do you think? Is it what you were expecting? I said it's not Chaos Gallantmon, but it's not traditional Gallantmon, and it's something I've had a lot of fun with. I really, really like it. It catches people off guard, and this version's had very few tweaks since the regionals last year in 2023, which I had a whole 2 good games and then proceeded to flop the rest of those. Besides that, let me know what you think. Let us know in the comments. If you'd like to see anything else, let us know. But besides that, if you could take a moment to have a look at our Jank Tank series, which is where we play some non-meta decks. If you're interested in seeing things like Diaboromon go up against the Galacticmon deck, or Marsmon of all the cards getting played, please have a look at some of our videos. Besides that, thanks very much, guys. You keep it digital.